Hey there, this is Dennis Anyone with Dennis Hensley. It's a podcast about making things up and making things happen. Creative people and why they do what they do, how they hang in there. That's what I love to talk about. This is part 2 of my annual holiday gift guide, where I find creative people who are doing something a little entrepreneurial that might make good gifts for people. So this is part 2, and in this episode, we have my old friend Scott Willams, who has started a ceramic brand called SEW Ceramics, So Ceramics, SEW. Those are his initials. And as part of that, he has this amazing collection of one-of-a-kind lamps with cool names. And, you know, Scott was in entertainment. He was a creative director at a big promotion company for many years. And this was like something he did to kind of relax and be creative. And it's turned into this cool side business. So it was really fun to talk to him about that, especially after having done a little of ceramics myself in a 3-week course, but where you know, let's just say the clay does what it wants. And we also have Cam Clarke. He's been a guest on this podcast before. Cam is a member of the iconic King family, and he put together a gorgeous book called Now They're All Here, and it's about his whole family's journey in show business, and it's beautiful. So we talk about that coffee table book and what it was like to put it together with Cam. But before we get to the interviews, I want to remind you that if you like this podcast, there are a few things you can do to support it. You can go to DennisAnyone.net and leave a tip in my virtual tip jar. We had a listener named Jack K leave a very nice tip on Giving Tuesday. I love that. Thought of me on Giving Tuesday. Thank you so much. You can also listen to my Patreon or Substack. It's like a spinoff of this show. It's called Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay. It's $5 a month. I do an episode a week, and I talk about happiness at the end of it. Tips, things that I've learned, things I'm musing about. That's become a topic that's been very interesting and helpful to me in the last few years, and I love to discuss it. So go to Patreon or Substack and search Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay. It's the same content on both sites, and I also posted the mismatch game, the last show we did, for anyone to see. You don't have to be a subscriber to see that. So that's up there. The other thing you can do is become a subscriber to DNR Studios. I'm part of a group of shows under this queer banner, Derek and Romaine, and for a monthly fee, you get my show early and you get all these other fun shows. So learn about that at dnrstudios.com. And finally, I'm coming out with a new game called Search Party, and you can pre-order it at youdon'tknowmylife.com/search party. It's really fun. It's being printed now. I don't know if they're going to get here in time for Christmas. This is the way it was when we did You Don't Know My Life. We had some hiccups, but they're on their way. It's happening. It is happening. We pulled the trigger. It is going to exist. So thanks to everyone that has pre-ordered so far. We really appreciate it. And I'm so excited that it's going to be a real thing in the world. Again, that's youdon'tknowmylife.com/search party. All right, let's get to the interviews. First up is my old friend, Scott Willams, and his new brand, So Ceramics, SEW Ceramics. Joining me now from beautiful Cambria, California, it's my old friend Scott Willams, who's one of the longest friends I've ever had. We met in 1987 at an audition for Princess Cruises, and now he's doing ceramics. He's getting into the ceramic world. Welcome to the podcast, Scott Willams.
Well, thank you, Dennis. Yes, it's been quite a long time since I sang Take Me Out to the Ballpark as my audition song.
And first of all, it's Take Me Out to the Ball Game. So,
is it?
Yes.
So clearly I didn't even have lyrics right back then. More than I do now.
But you know what? You were a fierce dancer. And so it worked. We both got the gig and changed both of our lives. So we want to talk about this new venture that you're into. You've been doing it for a while, but you've just sort of stepped out and started selling your stuff. It's the brand is SEW Ceramics, like So Ceramics for your initials. And right now you starting with lamps, right? The lamps that you have on there are beautiful. When did you first start getting into ceramics? Were you doing this years ago, or was this more recent?
Well, it started like so many people during COVID.
Right.
And our friend Kirk took his 3-car garage and some disposable income and converted it to a ceramic studio. And he does nothing small. So he kept doing this, and he said, well, you should come over. So this was probably 2019, 2020, probably 2020. And so at first I wasn't going to do it. And then I got into it and it was really great. And then about that time, really after just like 6 months, Peter was my husband was managing the winery. So I started taking everything up there, and nothing beats drunk shoppers, so
you were selling stuff to the drunk shoppers at the winery.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like just little bowls, little vases, nothing anything huge or really fantastic. It was really the start of the whole pottery movement, which is really crazy now. Like every city, town, village has at least some place you can throw a pot.
Well, I just took a class here in Los Angeles at a place called Claytivity in Burbank, and beautiful facility. It was 3 Sundays in a row for a few hours, and it was a good introductory thing. But my takeaway was that I just felt like the clay's going to do what it wants to do. Like I never felt like I had any control of it on that wheel. Did you struggle at first? Like, what was it like when you first started doing this? Did you feel like you had a knack pretty early on?
Well, good question, because like Kirk, I think he took 2 classes. And so when he invited me, I was like, well, what do you do? He goes, well, I don't know. He goes, I don't like the wheel. I tried it once. I don't do that. I just kind of make stuff. And he was just like free forming it from the beginning.
Right.
And we bought like an old kick wheel. So somebody was having a estate sale, and they happened to be a ceramicist. And so we bought this huge, if you look it up online, it's these huge industrial kick wheels, and it actually had a motor. So I did start a little bit, but I mean, it wasn't as satisfying as just making stuff. And so I started coloring clay and doing stuff that I would find online, and doing stuff that I wouldn't be embarrassed to have around the house, or if I found it in the garage. I know Peter said that it wasn't making into the house.
He would let you could decorate the garage, but that vase is not coming into the house.
Well, he was very subtle about it. It would be like, I would make a bunch of stuff, and he was very complimentary, but then I did notice that there was soon to be a shelf down in the garage that had many of these wonderful creations in it.
You know where this would look wonderful? In the laundry. This would look so good in the laundry. It would go with the washer and dryer. Yeah, I have 3 pieces or 4 right now that are being, we did the glaze yesterday, and they're being burned, and they are the saddest little dishes. That one's like, they're like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree of pottery. So but I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like, I felt like I ever had any control over it. But you made like a bag out of clay. Like there's a bag. Is it Peter's bag or one of your bags? Like, and you created a replica of this backpack out of clay, right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, no, and so so first of all, it's a Filson bag that Peter would like correct you on.
Is that the brand name or the style of bag?
It's a brand name.
Okay, so he has this bag, Filson, that he loves.
And so cut to like after a few things blew up in the kiln, and I was like, I think I should try to figure out if I'm going to do this. I need instruction. So I went to community college. So I've been going to community college for 4 years. And so like the bag and so many things were actually requirements. They were assignments that we had to do, which was great on one hand because I learned so much. But then on the other hand, it didn't allow a lot of time to do different things.
Right.
So then that's what ended up happening. Of course, being the type A, I had to get an A in the class. And so many, and it was very divided between us, I guess, shall we say, more experienced people of the world versus the younger community college students. And so there became a collection of us experienced people in the world, and many of them would just flunk the class so they could take it again. And I would be like, what?
This
is going to go on permanent transcript.
Yeah.
in life, like there's somebody out in the universe that's going to look at my transcript, even though that transcript wasn't very good from University of Kansas. But anyway, so I took all the classes. It's taken like 3.5 years. And this summer, unbeknownst to me, this envelope came in the mail, and it was a diploma.
You got a diploma from pottery school. That's amazing. Congratulations.
No.
What is the title? Are you like a bachelor of pottery? What are you?
I think, well, it's right here.
Let's look at it. All right. Show and tell.
Certificate of Achievement. Doesn't that look official?
I love it. And what's the name of the college or the university?
It's Cuesta College.
Yeah.
I mean, it's foiled stamped, Dennis. It's like, it's possible that I don't feel any embossed, but it looks like it could have been.
You better frame that. I think that is so cool.
Had I known, I would have thrown myself a party,
I know.
like a graduation party. But anyway,
there was a teenager in my little group at Claytivity who was maybe 15 and was so much better than me. And but I, you know what? I kept my eyes on my own paper. I didn't let it get to me. But yeah, I was like that little brat. No, she was fine. But
the kids are really good and they're very inspiring. And but they all had ceramics in high school. They're like, well, didn't you do this in high school? I'm like, no, we barely had enough classes to get through senior. Like we had Woodshop 4 or Home Economics 5. Right. I mean,
we weren't throwing pots. Yeah.
No.
What's your favorite part of the creative process? What part do you really love?
Oh, it's definitely making the forms and actually, you know, the wheel is really hard. Everybody, that's what they think about when ceramics, and that's what generally everybody. But you know what? The hand building. There's like so many things that you can do. That's not the wheel. That's very satisfying. It's kind of feeling the clay, and it's actually also making things 3-dimensional. You know, I've had a whole career doing, I mean, basically 2D work, even though motion graphics and there was like 3D, but actually getting your hands dirty, which I didn't think I would like. I mean, there's something about making a mess and then making something out of that mess, which has been really satisfying.
Well, you are starting to sell these amazing lamps. How did the lamp thing happen? Because if you go to the website, soceramics.com, you will see the amazing lamps that you have for sale.
And thanks for getting that plug.
Yeah, we got it. It's the gift guide. Yeah, it's all about it.
Well, early on, the one thing I liked was was staining clay and also experimenting with different clay bodies. And I would layer everything, and it was very much into my graphic background because it was like actually making graphic shape. When you glaze, you have no idea what's coming out. I mean, maybe a decent idea, but like, you know, the glaze goes on green and it comes out red. And I'm not a big fan of that, being a control freak. So early on, I was like, oh, you can stain the clay with mason stains and get something that looks more organic, or you can branch out into different clay bodies that are natural, that range from like black, reds, tans, and all of these different colors. So I started experimenting with layering them, and there's a Japanese term, nirakomi, that they actually make different little geometric shapes with that. So I kind of came up with my own blend of that. And I usually sometimes I make the shapes, and then sometimes I just use simple like cylinders and stuff. But I'm actually making it inside. So I kind of have an idea what it might look like, but I don't know until like usually it's a week and a half later till the form comes off. And then it's kind of a cool, like, oh, luckily, knock on wood, you know, it's worked because I thought, oh, I need negative space. I need dark here. I need light here. And then coming up with some freeform shape. So, yeah, so I did it a long time ago. I made vases and I made a couple lamps, and then I had it here in the living room, and people kept coming in saying, oh, wow, where'd you get the lamp? And so I said, oh, I made it. And then finally, Peter started working at the Home and Garden store, Terracotta Home and Garden here in Cambria, California, if I could get a plug there. And the owner came in. She goes, oh, we must do a collection of these lamps. So I started this summer. We put them in the store, and it's been great. In fact, she texted me, which is really bizarre, like 5 minutes right before this call, and said she sold another one.
That's fantastic.
She sold Celine. I give them names.
I know. I have to ask you about where the names come from, because they're very they're like good names, like Flint and Terra.
And Alba, and they each have like a little story, and then you get this little clay. I guess it could be an earring, it could be an ornament, it's basically a lazy tag.
Yeah, no, I saw that. It's so cute. It's your branding thing. It's very cute.
So, so each one, which is kind of fun, because what I was trying to do is combine the storytelling, with everything, and even video now, which is I'm trying to experiment with, and just like saying, okay, like give them personalities. And so, because they're one off, I couldn't recreate them if I tried, because of just the patterns and everything. It just sort of happens organically. So not too, there's not too alike. I mean, there can't be. Even the size and stuff like that varies a little bit. So yeah, it's been fun. And if I have to be honest, it is a little chat GPT with the names, but we go back and forth with like how jolly and conversational and how poetic things should be. But they are named for either the light or the stratas of the sediment, because that's what the collection was named out of. So yeah, we have, I think I generated 70 different names. So
fantastic. So you're good for a while with names like Lumen. Yes. I like Lumen. Lumen is very cute. Was it easy enough to figure out how you do the bulb and the electrical part of it?
Well, it is when Peter was around,
because I'm telling you, that's me calling a handyman. Like I can't, I just feel intimidated by that kind of thing.
Part of the whole process is learning patience. Yeah. Like I want it, and also being a creative director, I'm like, okay, I already sketched it out. I know what it should look like. Who's going to do this now? Oh, I guess that's me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, there should be 4 people here. Like, what's the artist that does the balloon dogs that has 50 different artists?
A whole team. Yeah. Oh, I'm a fan of Terra. Terra's beautiful. These lamps are gorgeous. You guys should go to SEW Ceramics and check them out. And now, at the moment, people need to get them in person, or you deliver them, because they're so heavy. You're not doing a mail order thing right now, but I think that adds to the exclusivity of it. You show up maybe in a vehicle, maybe in an outfit. Maybe you sing "Take Me Out to the Ballpark" when you bestow it.
That's going to generate. That's extra. The singing.
The singing is extra.
It's definitely a special treat.
It's an add-on. I love it. You wrote on the website that you're inspired by your grandmother. That she used to do projects. Talk to me about that.
Oh, now you're going to make me cry.
That's okay. It's part of it's on my.
This is the Oprah crying part.
This is the Oprah crying part. Yeah.
This is your. Yeah. No, I had my grandmother on my dad's side. Her name was Helen, and growing up, going to grandma's house was special. I mean, there was always something she was making. There was a little magazine called Work Basket, and it was probably some Midwest thing with the Farmer's Almanac. You probably got 2 for 1. Right. But every month she would get it. And it's like, oh, look, you could make these little refrigerator magnets out of walnuts and googly eyes. And, as a 6-year-old kid, that would be amazing. But she did knitting, crocheting, she china painted. She was always really creative. And she would never have called herself an artist. She just did it because she loved it. And the one thing she left to everybody, all the grandkids, was like everybody, she painted a china cup for them. So like when she passed away, we got, these amazing things. And when you think about it, it was just like something she loved to do. She, it was a making thing, but it was also, she needed to be creative. And she would, she grew up as a farmer's wife, that's what she did. So that's all. I've always given kudos to her for her DNA that gave me creativity, I guess.
I love it. It reminds me of my mom because she would do a lot of projects like needlepoint and quilting and things like that. But the thing I think I took away from it is they were things that took a long time. Like she'd be working on this thing for months, but she would see it through. And I think it modeled for me this idea of like, these things aren't going to happen fast, but stick it out. Like, you know what I mean? I saw that modeled over and over and over again. Like that quilt that she's been working on for 7 months, it's done now, There was something about that idea. Does that resonate with you?
I think it's also like a creative escape that they had. It's just like, what has really gotten me through the last year or so is like the ceramics. It's like, okay, whatever's going on with the world, or if I have my other entertainment projects or whatever, there's a certain escape because it's like, oh, I could go in the studio and make whatever I wanted to. And then I just saw something on Instagram or whatever. And what if I did that? And it kind of is that, I think it is a little escapist in some ways, but it's also satisfying in that sort of making it by hand and also using your imagination. But there's a lot of that, I think that. And I think that's why it's resonating so much with everybody now taking pottery classes. Yeah. And it's also very meditative. You have to focus. If you don't, that pot's on an orbit itself.
Yeah, that pot's doing its own thing. It's on its own. It's dancing to its own drum. Before we wrap it up, I want to also tell folks to check out your Instagram, which is SEW-ceramics. There's a dash in there, and you can see the really cool lamps. Part of why I do this gift guide thing is sometimes people will reach out and buy the things, but other times I just like to inspire people that if they're listening and they have an idea that they want to try or a little business that they want to try to make happen, I want to give them inspiration by talking to other people that have done it. So my final question is this, and you've already kind of touched on this. What has it given you in your life to have this side thing, but also to start to sell them, to actually kind of put them out there for people to pay good money for them? What has it brought to your life?
Well, it's inspiring. I mean, it is, like I said, it's a little escapist. And I think what you do on this podcast, Dennis, well, like the people that you really highlight, it's not, like all the billionaires and A-listers that have made it. It's like you really focus on that satisfaction that just making something brings to you. And I don't think you know it until you actually do it. And then I do think there is an extra level, just like selling one thing. Like the first time I sold like a little pinch pot at Shale Oak, I was like, what? Somebody actually wants this?
Right.
Somebody
it's
actually,
be in their home.
I didn't know is going to place it in their home, and they're going to go, wow, I really appreciate this. And, we buy a lot of art. And the art that we appreciate is either gotten from travels or that we actually know the artist. And it's a reminder of the stories and different things. So, yeah, even just the text that I just got, it's like, oh, my God, I sold another lamp.
A piece. That's amazing. That's great. What are the price points of the lamps? Are they all around the same price, or does it depend?
It depends. Right now, I don't know. I think they're $4.95 to $8.95.
That's right. Sweet. Yeah.
So, but I was also inspired by several other makers. So, I mean, I think that's the hardest thing about it. Pricing art is pricing art.
Yeah. No, it's like it's a subjective thing. So, also, I love that you call yourself a maker. That's on your website too. I'm a maker. Like, that's cool. I like it. I celebrate it.
It's going to go the way of a storyteller pretty soon, I'm sure, or bespoke.
Artisan, bespoke. I don't even know what bespoke is, but it sounds expensive. Someday, no pressure, but if there was ever a dentist lamp, maybe with one N or a Y, I don't know, you mix it up. No pressure.
Well, we could, but I really think could you write a one-liner for it, and then maybe it's a reverse. It inspires me to create.
Okay, all right. I love that. People could custom design. You do take commissions, right? So that's very cool. Here's my final little thought, and then I'll let you go. Have people taken pictures of your lamps in their spaces? Have you seen that? Have you seen that in photographs?
A couple. I'm waiting. I was going to ask. Somebody just bought one like a few weeks ago, and they said that they were going to send me some photos. But yeah, that would be very exciting too.
Yeah, that's very cool because it's like there it is, right there in their house with their books and that horrible couch. But whatever, it's their house. No, that's probably a wonderful house, wonderful couch. Scott, I'm inspired by you, and I love that you're doing this. And people should check out your website and get inspired as well. It's sewceramics.com. And thanks for doing the podcast.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Thanks again to Scott Willams. Check out his lamps at sewceramics.com. All right. Next up, it's Cam Clarke. He is a member of the iconic King family. He put together a beautiful book called Now They're All Here. And he's also an established actor and voiceover artist. He was one of the Ninja Turtles, and he talks about that a little bit. So very excited to talk to Cam about how he put together this gorgeous book. Joining me now is Cam Clarke, the man behind the book, Now They're All Here, The King Family. It's a giant, photo book, coffee table book about the King family, of which you are a member. And
it's true. I can't deny it.
It's so comprehensive and big, and, it must have taken you so much time and work, right? It feels like a big project.
Well, from soup to nuts, it was 4 years.
Wow.
With a break, a break here and there to regroup or, whatever. But it was just so much fun gathering. It really, as my family calls me Marion the Librarian, which is the character from Music Man.
Of course,
Because I am, I'm the keeper of the history.
You're the keeper of the history.
Yeah, and there's 100 years of it there in that lovely book that I am really proud of, if I dare say so myself.
It's incredible. For the listeners who've heard of the King family but don't really know their whole story, what's the sort of a quick version of their story?
Yeah, my mom and her sisters were a well-known, famous singing group during the big band days, the King Sisters. And they worked a lot, and then they continued to record in the 50s with kind of Rat Pack jazz kind of, feel, doing the casinos and all that stuff. And then they were asked to do a benefit performance in 1963, and my Aunt Yvonne said, hey, here's a wacky idea. Why don't we bring the in-laws and all the kids on stage, and we'll just put together a little, family show. And she happened to have this film. She took it to a friend of hers at ABC, and it was just this crude, I don't know if it was Super 8 back then, but just the kids at the university filmed it. He watched it, and he said, I'm going to get you an editing bay in San Francisco. You go down there, and you cut this to an hour, and I'll present it. And he showed it to the ABC brass, and they said, how soon can we get a pilot? And that was that. And it was just out the gate.
The television and the recording happened at the same time. They weren't like recording artists that got on TV. It all came together at once.
Well, in the 1930s, they were on radio.
Sure.
And in the 40s, they, played all the clubs, all the fancy hotels, and did some movies for, MGM and RKO and stuff, little musical shorts and stuff. And then, they were still working in the 60s, like I said, doing the, Tahoe, Vegas, Reno, all that kind of stuff. And then in 63, we did this. And then there we were at the Hollywood Palace being tested, and the fan mail was such that they did the pilot, got us on air the next opportunity. And here we are, 60 years?
How old were you when that was happening? You were just
I was 6.
You were 6. Do you remember it vividly? Or do you have like flashes of memories? Or is it all mixed up with the video and the pictures?
To be honest, I have shards of them. I remember the trip more than we did it up in Orinda, which is outside of Oakland, California. Right. And I remember going, and I remember just shards. But as far as the performance itself, not a thing.
Yeah, but you were adorable. When you look at those tapes.
Why, yes, I was. It's true.
The pictures in this book are amazing. What surprised you when you were putting it together? You must have seen things you'd never seen before, learned things you never knew before about your family.
Because I had a buddy who helped me with the Library of Congress and TV Guide Library, et cetera. These, kind of archival places, and delightfully found photos that had never seen the light of day, in their archives.
Right.
And what was interesting, our show was in black and white, first 2 seasons. And to see these, like the Paul Simon song, Kodachrome.
Right.
To see color photography of a show that was shot in black and white, but I've got stills of the colors of the costumes and the set and all of that. That was such a treat. That's
amazing. There is a chapter or maybe more about you and your own career. You're doing voiceovers and performing and acting. You're one of the Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I forget which one.
I am the OG Leonardo.
You're the
from
OG Leonardo.
Turtles fighting with honor.
Yeah, that's
a little Leonardo there, kids.
That's a little. You gave us that for free. You've done you've done so many different voices and so many different things. That's probably the most well-known thing you would say.
Yeah. And if there are gamers out there, one of the granddaddies of them all, Metal Gear Solid, I play the villain. There are twins. There's a good twin and a bad twin. I, of course, am the bad twin.
We love a gay villain. It's got, that's
right.
It's like iconic. You're part of a long tradition.
And I will say, in this crude filming, when I was 6, and this is one of my favorite things, and I didn't know this till I found the footage a few years back. Because in this raw footage, my Aunt Yvonne introduces all the little sub-families. Here's Alice's family. Here's Louise's family. Now, my mom is wearing a beautiful orange chiffon dress, and I'm 6 years old, and I'm standing in front of her. I take the skirt, and I wrap it around me and start swinging the fabric and doing hip to hip to hip in front of thousands of people.
Right.
And I'm just going, this is fun. This is pretty. This is motion. I like what this fabric is doing.
Yeah.
And, my Yvonne trying to ad lib because the audience is like tittering or whatever. She goes, yeah, we're a little worried about Cam. And it gets a big laugh. And the great thing was off stage, nobody wagged a finger. Nobody said, what were you doing out there? Nobody gave me grief for having done that.
Right.
And I think that is telling to kind of a forward thinking. Of course, they were in the business, a bunch of carny freaks, basically.
Right.
And so it was all in a day's performance for them. And my mom quips after Yvonne, because I'm still standing there with a skirt wrapped around me, digging it. And Mom says, and this is so random, she goes, he's going to be a dress designer for our church.
Right.
Like that's a thing, right?
Right. Like, no, because you were raised LDS like I was.
We were raised. Yeah, yes. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
And dress designers are not a church position, but you know what? It was a good lad lib. She was quick on her feet.
Oh, yeah. And it cracked me up when I saw it later. And it's in my one-man show that I did a few years back. But the book has step-out chapters for those of us that had solo careers, like myself, Tina Cole, who was on My Three Sons.
Of course.
And my dad, Bob Clarke, who was the king of the B horror flick, maybe B- horror flick in the 50s.
Fun.
Alvino Ray, who's a legendary jazz guitarist and inventor of the slide guitar. So even if you're not familiar with the family, it is 100 years of photography for anybody who loves theater or sitcoms or TV, mid-century entertainment. It's beautiful with the pictures alone and the costumes and the street clothes that change over the century. And I asked all my cousins if they would write stuff for me, memories and stuff. And I also said, I need to know about this, this, and that. And our moms, people still happen to have random journals or letters or musings of the moms, some of them on legal pads,
Right.
But it all came to me and I was able to weave it together. And, the family is most known at Christmas time for our Christmas specials.
Of course.
And so now it's just really fun to be presenting the book at the time that, holiday time when people remember, us right up there with Andy Williams and Perry Como and all the other variety show holiday shows.
Yeah. Are those shows available on streaming somewhere? Do they end up on YouTube? Can people watch them now if they wanted to?
Are you talking about the King family?
Yeah,
I can't
King
speak
family,
to the others.
Yeah, like the King family Christmas specials. Are they available anywhere to watch?
You can get them on DVD, actually.
Oh, wow.
Christmas specials.
I love it.
Probably if you go to the King family fan page, or I bet you even on eBay, everything shows up there. King family DVDs, and see what pops up.
I love it. If I were like a costume designer working on a movie or a TV show during this time, this book would be an incredible resource. The hair and the clothes, and it's gorgeous. Big glossy pictures. You did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. I am, and those pictures in the 40s of that wardrobe, is insane. But that's kind of the long and short of it.
What did your family think of it when they saw the finished product? Because you've done an incredible thing for them. It's like you've given them this scrapbook, and I'm sure they contributed. But I think what a gift to have for all of them.
They couldn't have been more pleased is an understatement.
Right. They must have been knocked out.
And I had read a biography on Truman Capote by George Plimpton.
Right.
And in the preface, he says, if you're looking for a straight-up biography on Capote, I recommend this one and that one. So I'm like, wow, you're turning people away.
Right.
He said, there is no narrator here. This is just interviews and remembrances by people who knew him. And so, you got Harper Lee in the beginning going, well, Truman would do cartwheels all the way home, but his daddy never showed up. And then you've got Gore Vidal saying, he was totally drunk off his ass, da-da-da.
Right.
So I use that format. So it is 100 years of first person.
Right. It's sort of like an oral history vibe.
So I don't speak. Right. My voice is not heard except as an introduction until the 60s. And none of us kids speak until the, early 50s when we started being born. And so the whole century is I, me, we, never they, them.
Right.
So that it gives it a present, if that's the right word, sense of going through entertainment history.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite photo in there?
Oh, golly.
I know. Or a few. The pictures are so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, the photos, but the people in them are beautiful. It's just like...
I would have to say the one I use next to the title page.
Yep, I'm going there now.
It's like we're sitting in a bunch of bleachers.
Yeah.
and the dads have red blazers on.
Yes, I'm looking at it now.
I'm wearing a dickie, if any of you people out there know what dickies are.
It's like a thing around your neck, right?
It's a fake turtleneck sweater so you don't boil.
Right.
You pull it over your head, has a turtleneck, and it's just a square that hangs down to about your chest.
And it tucks under a sweater or something like that.
Yeah, and you put your V-neck sweater under it.
Which one are you? Are you in the front row? I'm looking at it now. Are you the blonde?
I'm the blonde in the very middle.
Oh, cute.
Right?
Yes. So cute. Why do you love that picture?
Because everybody is there. And I'm lying when I say that. It is not. The troupe originally was 36 members on the show. So that's a lot for costuming and music and rehearsing and all that stuff. There is an episode in 1965, one of our Christmas shows, where everyone who has been born, all of us kids, and Mom was one of 8 children.
Right.
And their spouses, it is the only time every one of us kids and all of the parents are together in a show. And so that one thrills me. There were Christmas pictures in there that I love.
Yeah. Well,
and, which was, I always joke that when I was a kid, it was just like fantasy, but it's all I ever knew.
Right. From the time you were born, it was like this mix of show business and real life.
Well, and people go, what was it like? Yeah. I'm going, it was nothing. It was like you're in first grade and then you're not going back because you're going to studio school, but you're with your cousins. So it's not like some weird, who are all these people?
Yeah.
It's all of us, and it's all we knew, really.
What's the Christmas thing? The Christmas. What is it like to have Christmas with the King family? Off camera, like is it fun? Do you all go to one house, or I'm sure it's changed over the years? But what does a King family Christmas mean to you?
We are so spread out now that there is everybody lives all over the country now, so there isn't any grand getting together for holiday. In fact, our big reunions have stopped because each one of the children of the moms has grandkids, and so it's branched out. But it's funny, we kids on Christmas Eve, my cousins we're of a certain age, all of us now.
Right.
But we do a fantasy thread, and just improv. Somebody starts it. Our family house, where our grandparents lived, was on Greenleaf Street in Sherman Oaks.
Right.
And this thread will start out with, what time are we meeting at Grandma's house? And someone said, well, we're going to be opening our presents up till 5, so we're probably going to be there late. And then this one says, well, we're going to be with Dad this Christmas, so we have to miss out. And it's just a thing that we thrill to, and we do it at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we really did get along. That doesn't mean to say there, weren't fights and blah, blah, blah for, the next book, King Family After Dark.
Right.
But, people have approached us over the decades about, wouldn't this make a great miniseries or, thing like that? And we have said, well, knock yourself out. There's not enough drama there.
Right.
If you wanted to do a rags to riches, you could do the beginning, because my moms were all born during before the Depression, and they were in vaudeville. And Mom always told me a story when I was little that she would get in her soft voice and I'm on her lap, and we would be on a train. She hated to fly. And we were heading up to do the show itself in Orinda. And she was telling me stories of when she was a kid. And she said, and in the summertime, Daddy would take us camping, and we'd take a cow, and we'd plant vegetables, and he'd build a little bench for us, and it was so much fun. So fast forward, 50 years or something, 90s, we're at a family reunion where we were still all able to be together. And she's telling this in a circle of us, just a handful of us. And she tells it, and her eldest sister bolts up in her chair. And she goes, Alice, we were not camping. We were homeless. And isn't that wild? I'm not making fun of the situation.
No, but she saw it through a different kind of eyes,
Well, and their Daddy King, because King was his middle name, and that's what he went by. He, knowing this hell of a world that everybody was struggling with back there in the late 20s and 30s, he made it like an adventure.
That's cool.
Instead of saying we have to sleep, we don't have a home, so we're going to go up in the woods. It was, let's go camping and sleep under the stars. Because even as a little kid, I'm going, you planted a garden? How long are you camping for?
Exactly. It didn't quite track. How can people find this book? Where can they buy it?
Well, the easiest way would just be on Amazon, or you can connect to it on my site, which is camclarkevoices.com. And Clark has an E at the end. And at my website, you can also see clips of the old shows and some of my animation pals hanging out and stuff, and old Christmas clips, which I put up at this time of year.
I love it. The title, Now They're All Here, was that something that would get said on the TV show, or was that, where did it come from?
Are you psychic, or did I tell you that?
No, but I just had a feeling like it sounds like something that would be
I love that you
it sounds like something that it must have a tie-in, and it sounds like maybe something that was said on the TV show.
Wow. Yeah. You go straight to the bank with that.
Oh, man. Good. So that's right.
It was because it's kind of if you don't think that, kind of a goofy, dopey title. And my cousins were going, well, why are you doing that? I went, because of what it represents. Now They're All Here is the only line my grandma ever had on the whole run of our time performing.
Wow.
And you know how just like in movies, we all work in those lines we love, like we're not in Kansas anymore, or I'll have what she's having. Or even, that's what she said stuff.
Right.
There are lines from our career that have remained in our vernacular as just a knee-jerk. And like, if we are having a gathering, like this weekend, a bunch of my cousins were going up to Lake Arrowhead to have our annual little pre-Christmas gathering. And whoever is last arriving, someone will say, now they're all here. And it's one of many lines like that that have stuck with it. One of my other favorites was an ad lib of my mom in their club date. They did a joke about being blonde because in the 50s, just like everybody, they went that platinum blonde color. Right. And Yvonne is introducing the four of them. And she says in a whisper to the audience, I'm the only natural blonde. Yeah, it's true. What was that old slogan? Yeah, it's true. Blondes have more fun, which is a slogan by Clairol. And Mom, in her sexy, sultry, smoky tenor voice goes, oh, I don't know. I liked it both ways. And brought down the house with her naughty double entendre.
Yes.
And so that remains in our vernacular. So it's just little stuff like that.
Little stuff like that.
Remained with us.
It sounds like being in the
here.
It sounds like being in the King family is pretty awesome.
It was. I mean, people are probably going to roll their eyes at that. And, if we were on a road trip, I could go into more finesse and detail of the, up and downy stuff. But one thing that's different than, like, you hear a lot about child stars who, had a rough road or stage mothers and whatever it is. Not everybody. But we were with our family on stage. It was my mom standing next to me.
Right.
So there was no isolation.
Right.
And to go on the road and be all together, we'd be driving from one town to the next, and my aunt would say, "Stop the bus." And, we're back east somewhere doing a summer tour, the big tent shows and stuff, and county fairs and all. And she'd say, "This is a perfect place for a picnic." So we would stop en route to our next gig and get out and have a picnic. Or I can remember pulling in really late on way to, I don't know where, pulling into an all-night diner.
Right.
There's the graveyard one waitress and the chef, and they see this bus pull up.
Right.
30 bigger-than-life people, blonde people, pop out and are having a rip-snorting time. They go in, and I'm sure this poor cook and waitress are like, "Oh, my God, what are we going to do?" And my brothers went into the kitchen. We sat the chef and the waitress down at a table. We got them water. We got them napkins. We served them and cooked an entire midnight breakfast for all of us and for them. They made more money that night than
right.
You
You paid for everything.
But there are eccentric things like that. Our moms were the epitome of anti-MAME.
That's amazing. 4 of them.
And that's actually 6. And they would trade out.
Right on.
But that's the energy. That's the grandeur that I try to carry forth when I do my parties or anything to kind of live bigger than.
Yeah.
And it's, when our whole show ended, we used to call ourselves hothouse babies.
Right. Because
we were raised in this environment of fantastical, LSD trip, kaleidoscopic, whatever. And then it's over.
Yeah.
And you're now this orchid out in the hot sun or the freezing cold, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it took some getting used to pedestrian life.
Yeah. I can imagine.
But we have tried to continue because what you see on the shows is literally our Christmases at home. I've been rehearsing for the Christmas party that I do that has a performance with all my, voiceover pals and singer friends and stuff.
Right.
We rehearse starting late September to put on this performance just with all our friends, just like you'll see in the old movies.
Yeah.
You'll see people singing around the piano in some 1930s, 40s picture. And my parents used to do that. So I came from that old Hollywood vibe, and I've continued it. And again, anti-MAME is the model.
Yeah.
For how, what's the line? Life is a banquet, and
most poor suckers are starving to death.
Starving to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're keeping the fabulousness alive.
That's how we did it.
I love it. Here's my final question. Cam, thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you're flying out somewhere.
Oh, thanks for getting me on, Dennis.
What has working on this project meant to you? It's a big project. It's a big, beautiful book.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say what lit the fire finally under me, because it's really kind of petty.
Sure. Are we going to trash the Osmonds?
Who doesn't love
Let's
a petty story with
the no
petty story with the homosexuals, right?
Right.
There was a big, beautiful coffee table book that came out on Bob Mackey a few years back, maybe 10 years now.
There's actually Mackey designs in your book, which are amazing. Yeah.
Yes. We were his first show where he was head designer.
Right.
So you can imagine he's this 22-year-old kid, and on walk 16 women, all different sizes. It's not like these are chorus girls who are all looking the same or whatever. Some of them are 50, some of them are 13 and 6. And so you can imagine the budget didn't stretch that far when you have that many regulars.
Right.
Anyway, in this biography, there is a page of us, a beautiful page. And the guy who wrote it, I don't know him, so I'm not speaking to him as the person. Some of his jokes I felt were a little, like he said some snarky things about Sonny Bono that I thought were unnecessary.
Right.
Whatever. Judge. I'm judging, you know.
Right.
There, I've said it. And yeah, we only had one page because we're not Cher, we're not Diana Ross or Carol Burnett or any of those huge stars. But the author said that, you know, we hit boom like fireworks, and then we, you know, short-lived, and we all ended up on the unemployment line.
That was the line in the book?
Yes.
Fuck. Ouch.
And yeah.
And also not true.
I could have just said, whatever, dude. Get your, wherever you got your facts. It was not over in 1966, and I was performing till I was, 19 and 20.
Yeah.
So it just kind of got under my, what is it, under my craw? Whatever.
Yeah.
What is it?
Got stuck in your craw, got under your skin. Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll show you. And I had, as I said, I was marrying the librarian. And I think before that I was going, I should do a fancy Shutterfly book.
Right.
Well, and then it grew into this. And the process as a artist myself and designer, see, that chiffon dress helped inform my life.
Yeah.
That I played on.
You are.
I had the time of my life building this book. And in fact, when you're taking stories from different people, memories are going to be conflicting.
Right. That's interesting.
As far as the dates and the what. And so there was one story. Again, I told you they were really poor growing up.
Right.
And there's a story about one of the kids in their grade in school. They were decorating a holiday box everybody had to bring a can of something or, to put in this thing to give to the poor family in our school, the poorest family in our school. And there's, my Aunt Donna said this happened to her. And my Aunt Yvonne said it was her story about decorating this box and going home and going, Mama, we need something to put in the box for the poor family.
Right. And,
Grandma's going like, well, I canned this, last summer, but, here for the poor. And so they're so proud, the kids. And then they hear a knock, knock, knock on the door. And feet shuffling, skipping away, and the box is on their doorstep.
Oh, wow. So they were the family that got the box.
And these it's almost like Tale of Two Cities. I mean, not really, but these two tellings were so fascinating that they are both in the book running side by side.
Interesting.
One through the POV of a sixth grader, a child. The other, an eighth grade girl who's embarrassed. The sixth grade kid is just confused. I get it. We were needy. And the older one is like, oh my God, seriously, I'm going to die. What is this doing on our porch? So you get this same tale. Kind of like Rashomon for any of you that play. So there's all kinds of stuff like that and things like I didn't know that my mom dated Dick Martin of Rowan and Martin right before she chose my dad.
Interesting.
And it's just like, were you ever going to tell me this? She's long dead.
Yeah.
But because years ago, I got a call back for a sitcom and Dick was directing it. And he knew my name. I was probably about 22 or something.
Right.
And he goes, yeah, I used to date your mom. And what I found out later, he didn't give me details, that he was the last one she dated. And she said, going to marry Bob. Now, I had two older siblings from, Mom was a widow.
Right.
So she had 2 kids prior. And Dick Mom would go on a date with Dad, and Dick would babysit my older brothers.
Wow. That's interesting.
And when Mom said to the boys that Bob is moving in, my dad, Ricky, who was probably like 7 or something,
right,
said, well, can Dick move in too? You know, out of the mouths of babes.
Exactly. Why not? Make that whole thing work. Very unconventional.
Very polygamist.
Yes. Well, Cam, it's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful accomplishment.
Thank you for having me, Dennis.
You're welcome. And people should check it out. It's awesome. Thanks again to Cam Clarke and Scott Willams for sharing their gifts with us. Pick up their stuff. It's awesome. All right. So this happened this past weekend. I saw so many shows, you guys. I was just hopping from show to show. I have one eye having had surgery. The other eye, I have a contact in it and a bunch of cataracts. But I'm managing. I'm able to see okay distances, and we're in the in-between stage of my cataract journey. But it was fun. The first show I saw was called Die Hard, the director's cut. It's like a parody of Die Hard, but with the music of Heart. So there's songs in it, and it's so silly and fun. It's at the Colony Theater. It's a group called the Troubadour Theater Company. I was telling a friend that I was going to see it. Apparently, these people have been doing funny shit under my nose for many years, and I hadn't been yet. And I was telling a friend of mine, a dancer friend of mine, that I was going to see it, and she goes, "Oh, don't be late." And I was like, "Okay, I won't be late." So when I got there, somebody was late, and they had a whole song sung to them. And I forget what song it was, but it sounds like this is the thing they do every time. So if you're late, you get sung to, and it's a whole thing. But it was really silly fun, really funny performances, and good songs. And they had a band playing. So, yeah, I think it runs through the 21st or so here in L.A. at the Colony in Burbank. And you can learn about that at Truby.com. I think it's TROUBIE.com. The night before that, I saw my friends Danny Casillas and Oscar Quintero in Feliz Navi Divas. They do their characters from Chico's Angels, Quesadilla, and Frito-Lay, and it's a Christmas story with songs and comedy and very touching monologues, and that's at the Cavern Club Theater.com. And, well, that's actually not where you get the tickets. You get the tickets at Quesadilla.com. And it was great. It had a little story to it, some guest stars. So, yeah, super fun, very holiday spirit. I'm really in the holiday spirit. I'm getting there. And then Saturday, I went and saw Bob's Holiday Office Party for, I don't know, the umpteenth time. I've seen it so many times. It's showing at the Odyssey Theater, and I think you can learn about it at Bob's Office Party. It's a small-town insurance company where they have a Christmas party, and all the locals are crazy and boozy. And poor put-upon Bob is the insurance broker that gets everybody out of trouble all the time, but he wants to break free. And, you know, the question is, can he break free, or is he stuck in this town? He wants to be an inventor. My favorite thing lately, and this last time I saw it, is a character named Margie. And she has this, I call her Dark Margie. And she's a very bubbly, she owns a craft store, the Knick Knack Nook. And occasionally she's very bubbly and light and fun, and then she'll get dark. And she's like, "What do you think, Joe? What do you think? What do you mean?" Like, it's like you feel like there's a story there, a dark story. Maybe it was sexual. But you don't know the full story, but she goes to a dark place, and it's chilling and hilarious. So, give Dark Margie her own spinoff. I would show up for that. I love it. That's Bob's Office Party. What else? Oh, and then I saw, the last two I saw were not holiday shows. A friend of mine from the Actors Fund that I met when I was doing entrepreneurial course there is named Elizabeth Liang, and she's a wonderful solo show performer. And she has a show called Homesick. It actually finished its run, but I'm so glad I got to see it. Elizabeth has a very interesting upbringing. Her father worked overseas, so she moved around a lot, but she had family in Guatemala, and that's where they would spend Christmas. And so she had a very connected home feeling around Guatemala, even though she never lived there year-round. It was just an annual thing. And she writes very beautifully about those visits and her family there and what it meant to her. And I'm so glad I got to see it. So maybe it'll come back around. But it was very cool. And then last night, my whole playwriting class, we did a field trip together. and we went to see a play called Esther Perel Ruined My Life. It's not a holiday play. It is a workshop production. It was in Atwater Village as part of the I Am a Theater Company, and it's about a straight couple who have hit a point in their marriage where they have a kid, and the sexual spark has sort of gone out of it, especially for the wife, and they decide to open up their marriage. And what happens from then on is very interesting, but I really enjoyed the play, and I loved being out with my classmates. I had this just feeling of like, I love these people. I just started the class like 2 or 3 months ago, but I just feel like, I don't know, occasionally in my life I'll have these moments where I'm part of a group and I like the way it feels. Like I can point to different experiences in my life where it's like, oh, we're a group. I don't know. I think it's because I had older siblings, but they were all out of the house before I was born. So I felt a little only childish. And there's times in my life where I just like love the feeling of being part of a group. So anyway, we go to see the show. It's an open marriage thing. And the show is quite funny. It's very provocative. It's very interesting, but it's quite frank about sex. And it was very inspiring for me because the play I'm trying to write now in this playwriting workshop, sex is a big theme of it. Early on in the earliest weeks of the class, the teacher, Leonardo, who I adore, he was like wanting us to like sort of dig deep into those areas that were of our own lives that are maybe embarrassing or maybe a little bit fraught. Like he feels like there's plays in those places for people in his experience as a writer and also working with other writers. And so that's where we did, and we're on that journey. And so seeing this play was inspiring to me. It was like, okay, something like this can happen. Like in this play, there were scenes that were quite graphic, and the actors were great and super game. And it was just a really cool night. And afterwards, and we went and ate before and had burgers and we're talking. And I'm just really glad that I'm part of this class and this group. It's been a real blessing to my life. So I think those were the shows that I saw. It was a lot of things. Oh, and then there's one other thing I saw. The Academy was doing a tribute to Kenny Ortega, the choreographer and director. And he was the choreographer of Xanadu. I think it was his first big job. And so some of the Xana crew went, and I bought tickets, but I misread the time. I thought it was at 5, but it was at 6. So my friend Ted and I caught the first hour of it, and then we had to go to Bob's holiday office party. But I'm so glad I got to see it because Kenny was there. He talked about different parts of his career, and he worked on so many iconic things. Of course, Xanadu, Dirty Dancing, Hocus Pocus, Newsies. He worked with Michael Jackson, This Is It, which I think is the most successful documentary in the box office, maybe. There was some statistic around that was like the most successful ever. And something that really moved me about Kenny is that he kept shouting out people in the audience that had been on the journey with him. Toni Basil was there, and apparently she was really instrumental in getting him his start in Hollywood. And he would always shout out different assistants and stuff like that. So it just felt like a kind of a love fest for not just for his work, but just the people along the way. So that was kind of cool. Kenny Ortega did a lot of stuff, and it was inspiring. And I have a little clip from it. If you want to go to my Patreon, I'm going to post it as part of the next episode of Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay. It's not super long, but I wanted to get a little moment. And he talks about some advice that Gene Kelly gave him. And it's something that I think resonates for all artists. So how's that for a tease? All right. I think that's enough for this week. Thank you so much for listening. I want to give a shout out to Oscar Rosario for mixing the episodes. My theme music is by Mark Daniels for placement music. We'll catch you next time on Dennis Anyone. Bye.